Hey guys, it's Scared7 from Scared Productions, and today I want to teach you guys 10 intermediate longboard tricks. So these are not really necessarily intermediate tricks, but they're more or less a continuation of the last two videos I made in this series called 10 Beginner Longboarder Tricks Part 1 and Part 2. So if you haven't already watched those videos, I would suggest to go and watch them and then come back to this video, because this video is a continuation of those tricks. Now, some tricks are hard for people and easier for others. So what I want to emphasize in this video is that this is not an actual tutorial. This is just an overview of the tricks, so you guys might want to start attempting these tricks. And then later in the future, I will come up with tutorials for these tricks so that you guys can have an in-depth explanation of these tricks. Now, as I said before, these are not necessarily intermediate tricks, but they definitely can be. A certain trick could be hard for one person and easy for another person. So just make sure you have the other tricks down really well. That way, when you try these tricks, they're not that bad. And I'm 100% sure, all of you guys can get these down if you just put a lot of effort and watch this video and my tutorials over and over again. The first trick I want to teach you guys today is the flat top finger flip. This is a really cool variation of the flat top. So if you already don't have that trick down, I would suggest learn that trick, then come back and learn this trick. Another trick that might be helpful is the boneless finger flip, because the motion of the flip of the flat top finger flip is very similar to the motion of the boneless finger flip. So if you have that trick down, it will make it a lot easier to learn this trick. Now, in terms of steps, the first two steps of this trick are actually literally the same as the flat top, being the pressure pop and then the 180 grab and body rotation. The only difference is that when you would normally drop the board and then catch it with your back foot, you're actually going to add that flip. And the way I want to describe that flip is a pulling back grabbing motion, sort of like you're pulling something back, right? And you want to do that as fast as possible, because the faster you do it, the faster the flip is going to be. And then once you flip it and you feel ready, which should be as soon as possible, you should let go of the board, catch it with your back foot, and jump off your front foot. The faster you do that last step, the cooler it's going to look. And I'm sure that with time, you guys can get it down really well. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the boneless frontside shove. The boneless frontside shove is a really cool variation of the boneless. It does feel a little bit weird to do it first though, so you might want to practice this trick repeatedly, otherwise you're going to sort of forget it, because this trick involves a lot of weird motions per se, right? So the first step of this trick is very similar to all the first steps of all boneless variations, right? You take off your front foot and start the grab, whatever it might be, the grab, the spin, the flip, whatever. It's the same first step in all boneless variations. Now, this trick is a little bit different than all the rest because of what happens next. Once your front foot's on the ground, you want to grab the board with your front hand and grab it by the rail, so by your toe side, and you want to pull it out in front of you in a front side motion. What I mean by that is, unlike a backside trick where you pull it sort of like an arc, you're going to pull this one out in front of you to the point where you're going to be able to see the whole board doing the 180, and you want to grab it by the toe side. Then, once you finish the entire 180-degree rotation, you want to let go of the board, and your back foot, which should always, by the way, be near the board, should catch the board, and then when you feel ready, you should jump off your front foot, land, and roll away. This is going to feel weird because of just how this trick is working, and how your front foot's on the ground and your back foot is on the board, and you're grabbing with the opposite hand that you would normally want. It's going to feel weird, but I'm sure at practice you guys can get it. The next trick I'm going to teach you guys is the boneless backside shove. This is another cool variation of the boneless, and in my opinion, this is way easier than the frontside shove. Once again, it's the same first step as all boneless variations. Take off your front foot and start the grab. This is, in my opinion, a lot easier because this time, when your front foot's on the ground, you're going to grab the board with your front hand and actually pull it sort of like an arc. You're going to grab it first of all by the heel side. So meaning, unlike a frontside shove where you would grab it by your toes, you're actually going to grab this by your heel, which should feel a little more comfortable. And then you're going to sort of pull it out and back like an arc. And you're going to do that until you see the board turn fully 180 degrees. What that means, by the way, is that it's going to turn around completely. So for example, especially if you have like a non-symmetrical board, if you start off like with the tail in the back, when you do a 180 degree rotation, the tail will be in the front. That's what I mean by that. So once you do the full 180 degree rotation, you want to let go of your board, and just like the frontside shove, your back foot should always be near the board because that's what's going to catch you when you let go. Then it's going to be stable enough at one point for your front foot to jump off the ground and then jump onto the board, and you can bend your knees and ride away smooth. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the frontside tire clone 180. This is a really cool variation of the tire clone, and actually this trick is so similar to tire clone, it's ridiculous. The same two first steps as tire clone, the pressure pop and the actual motion is the same. The only thing is that instead of wrapping the board onto you like a normal tire clone, you're going to bring it out and you're going to want to do that 180. And the way I want you to think about this is that I want you to think about it like a normal 180 on flat. When you do a normal 180 on flat, you're simply just turning your arms, which then allows your body to turn, and then the board would follow, right? Because that's really the way a 180 would work. And so you want to apply those same concepts to this trick. So when you're doing a frontside tire clone 180, unlike a normal one where you keep your arms pretty straight, you want to start the trick off by doing the normal pressure pop in motion, but then also turn your arms. That way, your body is naturally going to move, and your board is also going to naturally start to pop in front of you and do the actual 180 motion. Then, once the board is starting to move 180, the 360 is nearly done. You of course want to catch it by either your front or your back foot. Doesn't really matter too much this trick. Then you can bend your knees and ride away smooth. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the boneless frontside flip. The boneless frontside flip is a really cool variation of the boneless frontside 180 and the boneless finger flip. It's a combination of the two tricks. So you want to really have those two tricks down really well before you try this trick. I want to emphasize that point because this trick is actually kind of hard. So the way you want to start this trick off is that you want to start off like a normal boneless frontside 180, and then about a quarter or halfway through, you want to just throw that flip in there, like a normal boneless finger flip. I'm not really going to explain the 180 or the flip down because I assume that you have it down, but essentially that's what you want to think about it, right? You want to think of it as one continuous motion. You do the 180, and then about a quarter halfway through, you add the flip, and you want to make sure you don't throw it too far in front of you because otherwise you're not going to be able to catch it. So keep those things in mind. Start off like a 180, about a quarter or half the way through, throw that flip in there, catch it with your back foot or your front foot, it doesn't really matter, it's a boneless. And then bend your knees and ride away. And don't throw it too far in front of you. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the Caveman front shove. The Caveman front shove is a really cool variation of the Caveman. But unlike a normal Caveman where you just pop straight down, this time you're going to sort of do like a tiger claw. You're going to do a pressure pop. And that's why I suggest that you probably also want to have down a tiger claw or something that involves a pressure pop. So once you start off that pressure pop and you do like the Caveman, like a normal Caveman, you want to catch the board by the nose like you would normally do for a Caveman. The only difference is that instead of like sort of bringing it back to sort of catch it with your back foot and then land, you're actually going to bring it out. And then what that's going to allow for is the front side shove it rotation. But because your board's already done the pressure pop, you don't really have to do too much. So you can really just focus on just doing like a small 90-degree shove it rotation with your hands by the nose and then catching it with your back foot and doing that as high as possible because this trick looks really cool when done from a pretty high height. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the backside no comply shove. The backside no comply shove is a really cool variation of the no comply or even the no comply 180 per se, right? I mean, it's a different motion, but some people learn the no comply 180 first and then they learn this trick. I did the opposite way around. I found this can actually be like one of the first no complies you learn. So overall, this trick is actually pretty similar to the straight up no comply. The way you're going to do this is that instead of popping down like a normal, like straight up no comply, you want to do like a scooping motion. And what I mean by that is you want to pop and then scoop back. You want to like almost like it's like a scoop motion. Like if you think about like when you're scooping like ice cream, you're sort of like going back and down, right? That's what I want you to think about. That's the same motion with this trick. You want to think of it as popping and then scooping, like pulling back, which is going to allow the board to do a backside 180 rotation. And you're only able to do that rotation once you take off your front foot. I want to emphasize that, right? When you're doing a no comply, your front foot is the only foot that should be on the ground. So the way you start this trick off is you bend your knees. Your front foot's going to come off, which is naturally because of the position of your back foot being on the tail. That's naturally going to make the board want to pop up. So as soon as your front foot begins to pop off, you're going to want to start off that rotation. So your front foot's coming to the ground, the board's going to start to pop up, and you want to immediately you want to immediately start off that rotation by pulling back, shoving the board back. And you always want to keep your back foot near the board because that's what's going to catch it. That is what's going to keep it stable. So while your front foot's on the ground, your back foot is scooping back, but then also keeping the board stable while it's doing the 180. And then once you see the board nearly finishing, keep your back foot there, keep it there so it feels stable, so you feel comfortable. And then when you feel ready, or as fast as possible, put on your front foot, because the faster you do it, the cooler it's going to look. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the Dragon Claw 180. The Dragon Claw 180 is a really cool variation of the Dragon Claw, which is a really cool variation of the Tiger Claw. You know, there's so much endless variations with Tiger Claws, and this is just about like as far as you can go. So the Dragon Claw 180 is really many of the same steps as the Dragon Claw. It's a very similar comparison to the Tiger Claw and the Tiger Claw 180, because it's essentially all the same motions. The only thing is that you're just going to add the 180. And just like with the Tiger Claw 180, the only thing you have to do differently is you want to start by turning your arms, which is then going to move the board, and that's going to allow the board to do the same motion and flip, but then also add in the 180. You also want to make sure to actually pop a bit higher, because the 180 does involve a little bit more height. I just want to add that. I didn't actually add that into the last part, but I think that it's important to know that you will have to do a slightly harder pop when you're doing 180. The next trick I want to teach you guys is the no comply finger flip. The no comply finger flip is a really cool variation of the no comply, so I suggest you guys have that trick down first. So the way you're going to start this trick off is you're going to pop like a normal no comply, right? You're going to take off your front foot, your back foot's going to naturally be on the tail, and that's going to allow the board to simply just pop up very easily. And so because of that, when the board pops up, the main difference between this and every other no comply you've done before is that you're going to grab it. This is not like a simple no grab motion. You're going to have to grab the board this time. So when the board pops up and it's in the air, you want to grab it by the nose and sort of pull it up a bit higher, because generally speaking, you're not really going to get too much height from a straight up no comply. So when you grab the board, pull it up a bit higher and then sort of twist it to add the flip. You want to twist it almost like a tornado if you think about it. A really fast twisting motion. And the faster you twist it, the faster that flip is going to be. So what you want to emphasize is that you want to bring it high enough so that you can get the full flip without it rolling on the ground. Once the full flip is done, make sure you catch it by your back foot. Your back foot should always be close to the board. So your back foot is close to the board. Once that flip is done, your back foot's going to catch the board, and then you're simply going to jump on with your front foot and you're going to ride away. The last trick I want to teach you guys today is the frontside no comply 180 finger flip. This is in my opinion a really cool variation of the no comply 180. And actually, you don't even really need a no comply 180 in order to do this trick. But it is pretty helpful in order to have that trick down really well. So to start off this trick, you want to start off like a normal no comply 180. If you don't know how to do a no comply 180, essentially you're going to take off your front foot, and your back foot's going to sort of be in that position where it's going to be able to pop front side, so in the toe side pocket. What I mean by that is like the far edge of the board, like towards your heels. You want to have like a position where it's going to be able to easily pop front side, like out in front of you. So your front foot's going to go to the ground, and then your back foot's going to pop the board. And essentially that's the first step, and it's the same step as a no comply 180. The only difference is that when you actually turn your arms like a no comply 180, you actually are going to want to grab the board this time. So you're going to take off your front foot, your back foot's going to pop the board, which is going to initiate the 180, and then you're going to grab the board, right? So instead of having to normally do the full 180 with your body and the board, this time you can let your hand sort of do the work for you. So as long as you just sort of start the 180, your hand will catch the board about halfway through and add that flip, but then you can also finish the 180 using your hand. That's something that I used a lot, especially when I was first learning this trick. So to emphasize once again, take off your front foot, your back foot's going to naturally want to pop up in a front side rotation. You catch the board with your hand and you want to sort of twist it, just like the no comply finger flip. It's the same twisting motion, except you're just doing the 180 this time. And because you're starting to turn your arms, the 180 is sort of just going to flow through. I don't really know how to fully explain the flow, but you just have to sort of try it. It just flows incredibly nicely. And that's why I really love this trick. So take off your front foot, pop with your back foot, catch the board by the nose, and do like a twisting motion to allow for the flip. And once the board is fully done the 180, you want to catch it by your back foot. That should always be by the board. and then jump off your front foot and bend your knees and ride away. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Also, I just want to emphasize that I do have some tutorials for the tricks that I mentioned in these videos, which I will link in the description. And if you guys want tutorials for the rest of these tricks, I will definitely make them. In fact, I'm already planning to make a bunch of tutorials based on a lot of the tricks that I'm teaching you guys in this video. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.